ไม่ได้นะไม่เคยเผื่อเลยเผื่อเลยเนี่ยทำไมทุกคนตื่นเต้นน่ารักเราหลีกวะไม่ได้จะไม่เริ่มช้าก่อนนะว่าคืออะไรเฮ้ยมีความเผื่อ
Everybody's watching you like
Thai dinner Korean
was it like
ว่าเด็กที่หายไปนี่คือไปต่อแถวซื้อกันอยู่เนี่ยเฮ้ยมีใครอยู่ห้องเราบ้างวะใช่ตอนบ่ายนี่แหละแค่ตอนบ่ายทำไมต้องกีการขนาดนี้วะพี่งงเพราะว่าเมื่อกี้นักศึกษาพี่มันก็โหมาขอมาจากตั้งไกลมาคือว่าซื้อเผือกเลย
อะไรอย่าแป๊บเมื่อกี้มันมีคนประกาศใส่ไมค์อ่ะอีsomeone said something on my yeah that's it I could hear it from outside but here I think sound cool okay good I'm still curious เรียกว่าไม้ I'd rather watch it on YouTube right now don't want to go to the concert โอเคนะคะ attendance ค่ะไปต่อแถวซื้อคอนเสิร์ตมาปะเนี่ยมาช้าเนี่ยไปต่อแถวซื้อบัตรคอนเสิร์ตกันมาหรือเปล่าต่อด้วยคอนเสิร์ตค่ะยังเมื่อกี้ไปเผือกกับเขาอยู่ยังไม่ได้เช็คเดี๋ยวให้เพื่อนบอกแทนขิมจ้ะทำไรขิมทำไรกินข้าวนะไม่ได้ซื้อบัตรคอนเสิร์ตโอเคมาริยามวิกลี่ค่ะโอเคจ้ะปัญญาฟิล์มโตออกมาไปแล้วนนเหมือนกันโอเคบอกเขานะเช็คให้แล้วหมวยจ้ะจอนนี่ค่ะจอนนี่ บิ๊กเป้อ๋อจอนนี่โอเคค่ะจอนนี่อ๋อมาริยม you there มาริยม you there โอเคเป้ค่ะเป้จ้าบิ๊กไปยังพิซซ่าโอเคกอล์ฟโอเคค่ะพิซซ่าโอเคจ้ะคอปเปอร์ไวโอเลตโอเคซาจ้าค่ะโอเคค่ะพราวโอเคค่ะปริมโอเคค่ะสมายโอเคค่ะพิมจีนมอสโอเคค่ะยาหยีไปห้องน้ำเช็คให้แล้วนะตีค่ะเบียร์โอเคค่ะแนทโอเคค่ะลุกโอเคค่ะแอเบสปอตีนะโอเคอิงค่ะเกียนิ้งจะโอเคเมื่อกี้เกียร์ป่ะคะเกียร์โอเคตรินเหมือนเห็นตรินโอเคตรินค่ะอิงค่ะเห็นละโอเคค่ะ everyone online I got you guys okay guys next week นะคะ online people and everyone here I send you a message นะคะ I got warning from OAA last week about online class they said for me to make sure that the students submit their evidence to my email and if you are at risk you still have to come that's new policy มันไม่มีแล้วที่แบบ no quarantine แล้ว even if you are at risk you still have to come only if you have positive test you can stay at home but if you're just at risk still have to come นะคะ that's all and make sure that you submit the evidence there's no any other excuse to be online นะคะ make sure next Wednesday we are going to have Q&A session as I told you guys no attendance if you have question come and ask question in class if you do not have question stay home and study on your own if you like you can stay online on Wednesday ค่ะ I'm gonna have online and on-site on Wednesday for Q&A in case if you feel like man it's better for me to stay home and study and maybe you know if I have question I want to be able to ask online that's fine I will be online from 10 to around 1:30 นะคะ from 10 so the first session start from 10 to 12 I'll send you the link in the group in the line group แล้วก็ the second session your time เนี่ยนะคะ from 12 to 2 you can attend either session you don't have to attend your own session attend the 10 o'clock session that's fine too that's it Q&A no attendance on Wednesday you will have about maximum 20 questions in your exam maximum นะคะ 20 questions I'm gonna try to make it lesser than that maybe 18 minimum 18 to 20 stick with the questions I told you แล้วก็ for the reading handout skim it one time should be enough read it for your general knowledge should be enough don't worry about the graph the figures the image those things in the handout don't worry about it just read the text will be fine now I believe we are here okay I think I already talked about characteristic of factory in the developed country and in less developed countries, but I will repeat one more time just to be sure that you have all the information. I will start off with characteristic of manufacturing activities in less developed countries. Most of the investors in less developed countries have very limited capital. So majority of them could only manage small to medium scale factories, small to medium scale factories. They mostly produce low value manufacturing products, low value manufacturing products, right? These factories in less developed countries usually purchase the raw material with retail price, They purchase the raw material at retail price. This causes the cost of their products to be more expensive than the products that produced by the developed countries investors. Right? The factories in less developed countries, they produce products in low quantity, very low quantity. That's why when they produce in low quantity, they purchase less of raw materials. And that's why they have to pay the retail price for the raw materials. And that affects the cost of their products to be more expensive than the products that are produced by the developed countries. The market, if you take a look at the market, they aim for the local market and the national market. They cannot easily compete with the products from the developed countries. They cannot easily export their products. They can, but it's going to be a bit difficult. They cannot compete with bigger factories that are owned by the developed country owners. They do not have market share in the global market. That's what I'm trying to say. Because those developed countries, they produce their products in large quantity at low price. They monopolize most of the market at the global scale. So the less developed country producer, they only sell their products locally within their own country or within their own region, maybe to selling their products to the neighboring countries and things like that. In terms of operation complexity, less developed country factories operations are quite simple. They mostly concentrate on the production department. They do not have extra department that help improve the quality of factories. They only concentrate on production, no any other departments that help improve the quality of the factories. Unlike the developed countries' factories, there are several departments that help improve the quality of the factory. For example, developed countries factories, they have research department that help improve quality of the products, diversify types of products. They have marketing department, finance department. They have the healthcare department that help take care of the health of their workers. I'll take a look at detail. I'll talk about it in detail later. I'm just saying that in less developed countries, factories are less complex, quite simple. They only focus on the production department. Right? Now, the less developed countries' factories mostly concentrate on manpower rather than the technology. They use mostly manpower for the production, less technology. I am going to talk about the developed countries' factories now. Developed country investors, they have very large capital. So they could have very large scale factories that produce to sell at the global market. All right. They also have access to cheap raw materials. think of it this way: when they produce a lot, it means that they have to buy big amount of raw materials. So they pay at wholesale price. They pay at cheap cost. When the raw material is cheap, the cost of finished product will also be cheap, very attractive to the global buyers. Very attractive to the global buyers. And with big capital, okay, the owners in the developed countries can establish several departments that work on various tasks to help improve the quality of the factory, to help improve the business operation. Let me start off with the first department, research department or R&D. Sometimes if you ever come across the factory operation, R&D is the research department. With the R&D, this is important. Their duty is to maintain the quality of the products. Okay? Make sure that the quality of the product is standardized, always good. Also, the next duty is to diversify types of products that the factory can produce to help increase profit for the factory. Diversify types of products that they can produce, it means that they have to invent or come up with new type of products that the factory can produce by using the same raw materials or using the same type of machines that are already there. Think of it this way. You may start off your factory with shampoo product. Okay, you may sell your shampoo. After your shampoo is well known in the market, you may want to increase more of your profit by coming up with new product. It's the research department or R&D department duty to think of a new product that use the same raw materials as the shampoo, use the same machine to produce as the shampoo. So your first product is shampoo. The second product could be things like hair conditioner. You still use the same raw materials. You don't have to purchase extra things. And you can use the same machine that you already have to produce hair conditioner. You don't have to invest much in the second product. It saves cost, and at the same time, you can attract more types of customers. Because some people, they are looking for hair treatment. They don't want to just wash their hair. They just don't want to clean their hair. They want to improve the health of their hair. They make sure that it's silky, it's clean, it's soft, and things like that. So you will be able to get those kind of customers. And after a while, you can come up with a new product, hair serum. Still use the same substance as the shampoo and conditioner, same raw material and same machine. After the hair serum, you may produce things like hairspray, hair mousse, things like that. So when the research department come up with the products in the same line, okay, the product line, shampoo or the hair shampoo, when they are introducing with variety types of products, these will make the customers trust and have confidence with the factory. The customer will automatically assume that, hey, look at this factory, look at this brand. Okay, they must be an expert in hair products. Look at what they have. They have hair shampoo, hair conditioner, hair serum, hair spray, hair mousse and all. They must be very expert in this. Their products must be very good. So the people will pay more attention to this brand. This brand will be able to continue stay in the business for a long time and making money for a long time. Just think of yourself when you go to the shopping mall to go to let's say go to the hair product aisle at Top Supermarket or Tesco Lotus. When you look at Pantene, Dove, you see that they have variety of items that you can choose from. Hair conditioning, hair serum, the type of gel shampoo or creamy shampoo. It made me feel like, man, they must be so expert in the hair product. Look at what kind of products that they have. So let me buy Dove, let me buy Pantene. On another hand, you may look at the local shampoo. You only see one shampoo, one type of shampoo, and you feel like, I'm not certain if they are specialized in the hair product. You have big doubt, so more likely you're not going to buy the products from them. You buy the products from the brand that have more variety types of products. That's the work of R&D. They have to diversify types of products and maintain quality of the products that the factory produce. The marketing department, that's the next one. Marketing department, they will come up with all kinds of marketing strategy and promotion to attract the customers. That's their job. Okay. Then apart from marketing strategy, we have health department that take care of the workers' health. Okay, this department will make sure that the workers are healthy. When the workers are healthy, they will be able to use their potential, their full potential, to produce the products. So we are going to have quality products, and we are going to have a lot of productivity coming out from healthy workers. Okay. The company will also have the legal department that work on the legal stuff. When the company come up with certain issues or complaints from the customers, or when they did something wrong, okay, the legal department will help settle the problem. My point overall is that for the developed countries, their operation is quite complex but more organized. Operation is quite complex but more organized. Okay. They establish different departments to work on various tasks. These allow the company or the factory to grow. But in less developed countries, less complex, no department, everything is centralized. The owner of the company runs everything. The owner of the company in the less developed country will come up with promotion himself, advertisement himself, search for raw material himself, search for the market himself. Everything is centralized by one person. That is very risky. If you have good factory owners, the business may survive. But tiny mistake that one person made could also destroy the whole company. Right? With the developed countries, products or factories, like I said, they aim to sell their products at the global market, and they usually monopolize the products that they produce. Okay. That's it. That's the general characteristic of developed and less developed country factories. These are the components of the industry. You do not need to memorize. Okay. These are just general facts. Raw material, transportation, marketing, entrepreneur, government policies and all. Already said that. That's one question based on this slide. Where did I put this one? Right now I'm a bit confused between the third assignment and your midterm. This question, I would like for you to explain flexibility of location. Flexibility of location of agriculture and industry. Flexibility of agriculture and industry? Which one's more flexible? Why? What happened? Now, for agriculture, it is a type of economic activities that highly depend on nature, on the physical environment. In general, you cannot grow anything anywhere and hoping to get the productivity. Certain type of crops can be grown in certain area, require certain treatment for it to be produced. So you're gonna have to pick the right area for certain plants if you want to make profit from it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a waste of your energy growing things but not producing it, not the plants not producing it, not producing anything. Let's say if you want to grow strawberries, you got to pick the right place. The strawberry require colder climate, very specific type of soil, fertilizer, and nutrition. If you look at Thailand, the best spot that strawberry can grow and produce is in the northern part of Thailand. Mae Hong Son, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, those areas. If you produce strawberry in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, you can save cost of your production. The cost of your strawberry will be cheap and attractive in the market. You can make a sale. You can earn income from strawberry. But if you insist to grow strawberry in Salaya, if you said, oh, I love strawberry, I want to be strawberry farmer. So you grow strawberry in Salaya, it will grow, but it will not produce. It may have the green leaves coming out, but it will not have strawberry for you. It's going to be a waste of your energy growing it. You're not making profit or making money from it. Now, once again, with agriculture, the location is not flexible. If you pick the wrong place, it won't produce. It's going to be a waste of your money, waste of your energy. If you want to make profit out of agriculture and be able to choose the location based on your preference, you can still do it, but you have to use technology. Very important here. What I'm saying is that if you insist to grow strawberry in Salaya, even though you know that physical environment is not suitable for strawberry, you can still grow strawberry here, but you gotta apply technology into your production. It means the cost of your investment will be higher. Now, growing strawberry in Salaya, you're gonna have to set up a dome, a big dome to grow your strawberry. Apart from that, you're gonna have to purchase the temperature control system. The temperature control system that's add up into the cost of your investment. And you also have to pay high electricity bill because the temperature control system requires electricity. So electricity bill add up into your cost of production. The soil in Salaya is not suitable for strawberry. So you may have to purchase the soil from the northern part of Thailand and pay for the delivering cost of your production add up. Right? You may have to buy specialized fertilizers to care for your strawberry. You may have to purchase pesticide, those chemical things to kill bugs and worms. Because bugs and worms in Salaya are different from bugs and worms in northern part of Thailand. There are some native insects here, native worms here that may destroy the strawberry. Pesticide add up into the cost of your production. Turns out that growing strawberry here could be very expensive. But again, technology makes it possible for strawberry to produce in more various places. Turns out that after your strawberry produce, you cannot sell it at the same price as Chiang Mai people. Chiang Rai people. You may have to sell your strawberry at higher price. Let's say with the cost of the investment that you put in, you may have to sell your strawberry at 500 baht per kilogram to make it worth your energy. And to make reasonable profit, you charge 500 baht per kilogram. While Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai people, they don't have to pay for the soil, don't have to pay for the transportation of the soil, don't have to set up the dome, no electricity bill and all. So the cost of that investment is cheap. They can sell it at 100 baht per kilogram. When we look at the quality of the strawberry, pretty much the same. So when it comes to purchasing, most customers who go for Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai strawberry, nobody want to waste money purchasing 500 baht strawberry of at growing Salaya. So yes, technology may be possible. We can grow things anywhere, but it may not be profitable. You might not be able to make a sale. Right? Agricultural products, the daily consumption products, are products that most government have ceiling price and bottom price. I already mentioned this. Farmers or producers cannot set up the price of the products the way they want it. They cannot just, come up with, okay, I'm going to sell my product at this price. I'm going to make it expensive. You cannot do that. That's illegal. Government often control the price of these kind of daily consumption products, the food products, to make sure that everyone in the country has access to it. Everyone in the country can buy it. Otherwise, starvation and famine will still occur. We have food, but the people cannot buy it. Famine still happen. Starvation can still happen. Right? Now, to prevent famine and starvation, the food price must always be low. Producers have less control over the price of their product. But if you look at technological products, okay, advanced products like computer, cell phone, airplane, weapons, medical equipment products, the producer can set up the price of their products the way they want it. They can make it super high, super expensive. They can do that. Most people understand that these type of products are high value products, very difficult to produce, very rare, very hard to find. So most people are willing to pay expensive price for those products. They already accepted that, hey, the cell phone, the computer, the airplane, weapon, these are expensive products. They already know, they already accept that. So the producers can set up the price the way they want it and make profit, unlike agricultural products. It must be at low price so everyone can have access to it. Okay. Now, if we look at flexibility of factories at the beginning of Industrial Revolution, the production the manufacturing production base is at home. Okay, manufacturing production base is at home. That's at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. We use a house to turn into a mini factories, and we use the family members to help produce the products. So it was more like a home-based production. Right? It was okay when we first started because in the beginning there was a low demand for manufacturing products. So using home, using our family members to produce a product, it was okay. It was enough to feed the market. But later on, the numbers of population increased. The demand for manufacturing products also increased. We could no longer use our household to produce the manufacturing products anymore. Okay, listen to this carefully. Two things happened at the same time. The increase in demand for manufacturing products and the new machine was invented. water or hydraulic machine, water machine, okay, the kind of machine that use water power for the operation. The location of the factory changed from at home to the area closer to the water area, like the river, the pond, the lake, right? Because it requires water to move the machine. After a while, we had a new invention, steam engine. When the steam engine came along, the location of the factory changed again from the area closer to the water. Now it changed to the area closer to the mining area, coal mining area, and to the area that have access to transportation. Now people have more choices, either to establish a factory closer to the coal mining area or the area that have access to transportation. The area that have access to transportation means that the coal can be delivered to those factories. But if you have your factory closer to the mining area, you can save cost of your energy. When the coal is there, you don't have to pay for the coal to be delivered to your factory. You save cost of transportation. The cost of your production is reduced. But if you want to be a bit further away from the mining area, you can still do it. But you have to cover the cost of transportation for the coal to be delivered to you. Now, after the steam engine, we have an invention of electricity. Okay? And we established the electricity network throughout most of the main cities. So the location of the factory changed again, but this time it changed according to the access to electricity. Any area that has electricity, you can have your factory there. So the location of the factory became more flexible than the old time, either by the river, or either by the coal mining area, or by the area where there's transportation. But when electricity came along, you can be anywhere that has electricity. In the modern day, we have more power source available: wind power, water power, sun, the solar cell, and things like that. So in the modern day, the location of the factory became super flexible than ever before. Come to my next question. Flexibility. ลืมเลยนะ Flip out of my mind just 1 second. Transportation. Oh, okay. I got it. With this question, I would like for you to pretend that you are a factory owner and looking for a place to establish your factory. I would like for you to make a list of the main priorities and the minor factors that you need to consider before you choose a location of your factory. 2 things I'm asking for: priority of the factory and other factors that you will look at before you choose location for your factory. The 2 main priorities are access to energy and transportation. Without these 2 things, you cannot have your factory. Okay, you cannot have your factory in that area. These are the 2 priorities: transportation and energy. And other factors, okay, you can consider them later. Other factors are things like cost of living. If the cost of living in the area you're looking at is low, it means that wages will be low. You don't have to come up with big investment. You can easily control the cost of your production. And when the cost of living is low, electricity bill, water bill will also be low. You can save the cost of your production. The next factor is access to raw materials. If the location you're looking at produce raw material that you need, that means you can save cost of the transportation. You don't have to spend much for the raw material to be sent to your factory. You can save the transportation cost. And plus, if there are numbers of suppliers are producing that raw material in the location you're looking at, you as a buyer have more bargaining power with the suppliers. You can maybe tell them that, hey, there are a lot of people that produce this raw material in this area. Can you give us good price? If you are not giving the price that we like, we will go to another supplier. We can always go to different suppliers. That bargaining power can bring the cost of the raw material down. It can make your factory have more profit and lower cost of the production. Apart from access to raw material, maybe access to labor supplies. If the area has large numbers of population, it means there are a lot of labor supplies that you can choose from. And when there are a lot of labor supplies, wages tend to be low as well. Not only that, the cost of living makes the cost of wages low, but when we have plenty of labor supplies, wages also tend to be very low. The next example of factor would be things like the government support. If the government support the industrial sector, maybe you can have easy operation or you can maybe make more profit. Some countries, like in Thailand, we give full support to the industrial sector. We charge low income tax from the factory, right? So the factory owners pay less taxes. They can keep most of their income. Okay, that's very attractive. Some countries, some areas, they charge very high taxes, very high income taxes. So the factory owner earn less, they make less profit. These are minor factors. There are more. Feel free to add in if you like. These are just some examples. Now back to the two priorities, transportation and energy source. These are expensive things to be established. With the electricity, right? If it's available in the area, the factory owner only have to concentrate on purchasing the machine and build their own factory. They don't have to worry about having to provide their own electricity. If they have to provide their own electricity, they have to buy a big machine that will cost big money. Okay, and apart from that, the machine requires maintenance. It's a long-term expenses that you have to deal with. But if the government or if the area already have electricity available, so you can get to use it right away. You can easily start your operations. Transportation as well. If there are roads in the area, that means you can easily transport your products and receive the raw materials. Right? You can send your finished product out to the customer, and also the raw material supplier can send the products to you. Imagine if you have to build a road. If you pick certain area that have no transportation and you have to build a road, you're gonna have to buy land. You're gonna have to pay for the roads to be built. That is very expensive. That adds up into the cost of your investment. That's why the factory owner thought that, well, we gotta pick the area that already have transportation and energy, so that we can concentrate on our own production. That's it. I am moving on to that one already. Now, two types of labors. There are two types of labor: skilled labor and unskilled labor. The skilled laborers are people who have been trained with specific skills. They are specialized in certain tasks. They have reasonable level of education, so their wages tend to be very high. There are not many of them out there, but most of them can be found in developed countries or in the major cities of many countries. There are not many of them out there. The majority of them are can be found in developed countries, or many of them can be found in major cities. These skilled labor, they are looking for high level position. They want to sell their skill for living. They are not looking for manual work, manual job, or low-level higher job, looking for high positions and things like that. Now, they usually produce technological products or high-value products like the web phone, the cell phone, computer, medical equipment, and things like that. Very high-skilled people looking for producing high-quality products. Unskilled laborers, the majority of the people in this world, unskilled labor, they have lower level of education, they are not trained. Right? They usually provide manual services. Use their energy, their physical body to provide services. Low wages, low education. Many of them can be found outside of the major city or in the less developed countries. Types of labors influence types of products that can be produced in the area or in the country. European countries, majority of the people are skilled labor. Best products that they should be producing are things like transportation types, cars, train, planes, things like that, medical equipment, weapons, technological products. But for less developed countries people, when the people are not trained and people are unskilled, it is best to let them produce low-value products such as the daily consumption products. Daily consumption products like the food, the clothes, shoes, bags, and things like that. So types of labors influence types of products that can be produced in the area. As I said, the food products is a controlled product. You cannot sell it at any price. It must be in low price. If the laborers that produce the food product is expensive, automatically the cost of the food product will be expensive. That's why when it comes to daily consumption products, factory owners prefer to choose unskilled labor to produce it, so that the cost of the food will be low. For the technological products, like I said, people already accept that it's very difficult to make, it's very rare, it's one of the kind. So the price would be expensive. People already learned that, they're okay with it. So So if we use skilled labor to produce those things, the finished product cost definitely will be expensive, and it's okay. Moving on to the next important point. Most of the daily consumption products are produced closer to the main market. Okay, most of the daily consumption products are produced closer to the main market. The closer the market is, the cheaper cost of the transportation will be. So the cost of the product will always remain low, affordable for people. But the high value products, the plane, the cars, supercars and things like that, it can be produced anywhere. But usually producers prefer to produce it within their own country. Like the German, they produce a plane, right? Supercars, they produce those things within their own country and use skilled labor. The buyers don't mind paying for the transportation cost for the products to be delivered because they already know that it's inexpensive, they are okay with it. So the high value products are usually produced further away from the market. It was okay. But the daily product, it must be closer to the market. Okay. I'd like for you to look at this term, new locational trend. Locational, AL, I'm missing AL. Locational trend. เดี๋ยวนะคะ Your midterm นะคะ end at this slide. Okay, end at this slide. What I'm about to say next is going to be in your last assignment. No more midterm. Last assignment. One of the questions in your last assignment, you're going to see this term, new locational trend. By 1970, many of the factories in the developed countries moved their production base to less developed countries. They could not bear with all the things that happened in the developed country. Could not, handle things in the developed countries anymore. Right? So they moved to less developed countries in Africa, in Asia, and in Latin America. So in this question, I would like for you to look at pull factors and push factors. Pull and push factors that cause new locational trend. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let you put the list of pull, the list of push in the table. One table will be push factors, one table will be pull factors. Put the list, put some example of push and pull factors. Now, when you see the word push, I would like for you to think of the difficulties that the factory owners experience while they are in the developed countries. Difficulties that they experience while they are in the developed countries. Think of what makes it very difficult to run the business. Think of something that makes these people have less profit in the developed country. Pull factors. Think of something that attracts the investors to come in and invest in the less developed countries. Things that attract them to come in. Things that make it easy to operate the factory in the less developed countries. Now guys, the difficult things that make it so hard to operate the business in the developed countries are mostly good things for the people that live in the developed country. Okay. Once again, things that make it difficult to run the business are mostly things that good for the people that live in the country, but it is not good for the business. Things that good for the business are things that's very bad for the people that live in the country. I'm going to give you an example in a second. Let's deal with the push factors. Some example of the push factors, but you can always come up with your own example. Right? My first example, worker rights laws. Developed countries produce all kinds of worker rights laws to protect the workers, make sure that they have well-being, make sure that they have fair treatment in the company or in the factory. For example, the workers must receive break time during work at least 1 hour. It means within that 1 hour, there will be no productivity come out, and workers will take a break. No productivity coming out, but the factory owner still have to pay that 1 hour to workers. They pay, but no productivity coming out. Okay. The next example of worker rights law is that the workers must be granted with vacation days, at least 21 days a year. The worker will get paid while they are away, but of course there's no production coming out when the workers are away. The factory owners still have to pay for these workers while they are taking day off, make the company lose some profit. The companies have to pay for their workers insurance and social security. Pay for the insurance and social security. Make it more expensive to operate the business. Okay, when they have to pay for the worker insurance, pay for the workers social security, the cost of investment and it becomes more expensive. By law, the companies or factories gonna have to provide some relaxation activities for the workers. For example, if you own a big factory, you have to have sports center for your workers to relax, to enjoy themselves, so that they can have well-being. You will have to build soccer field for them, basketball court for them, running track for them. That's extra cost of investment that you have to put in to make sure that your workers have well-being. Not only that, you build those sports area for them. You're gonna have to hire extra people to maintain those places. You need to hire the maid to clean the soccer field, the garden to cut the grass and things like that. That's add up into the cost of investment. I mean, you have to hire people to take care of these places. That's a long-term expenses for the company. By law, you have to provide reasonable pantry for the workers. It means you're going to have to provide a place for the workers to sit down and eat lunch properly. You're going to have to hire the chef to cook for your workers, maid to clean the dishes and things like that. That's long-term spending. Within the pantry, it requires electricity and water. So electricity bill increase, water bill increase, operating business in developed country became more expensive. There are more laws that protect the workers. For example, employers are not allowed to verbally abuse, verbally oppress the workers. If the worker feels intimidated, feel like they're being oppressed, they can report. They can file the report on their employers. employers will have to pay big fees for violating the law. If the workers let's say if the employers dislike any of the workers and fire the worker, by law, employers have to pay big compensation. Maybe 3 months in advance if you fire someone, you're going to have to pay them 3 months in advance for them to take leave. Big cost of money that you have to deal with. Now, apart from these worker rights laws, in developed countries, they came up with more laws that aim to protect the physical environment and reduce the pollutions produced by these factories. It means the factory owners will have to come up with more expenses. They will have to pay more to operate their business. Let's say the factory cannot release certain amount of toxic in the air. So the government will always come and observe how much toxic that you release out. If it exceeds the allowance, the factory owners have to buy the air filter machine. They have to establish air filter machine. That's extra cost. They're going to have to purchase that. They're going to have to buy, pay for electricity for the air filter to operate. More expensive. The factory is no longer allowed to release toxic waste into public. That means they're going to have to establish water treatment plants. It requires a big area. The factory owner have to build tanks, build systems that retrieve the water or clean the water before they release it into public. That's a big amount of money right there. So these are just examples of difficulties that make it so difficult to run a business. It causes the cost of operation to increase. But these laws are good for the people, good for the environment, just that they're not good for the business. Now, pull factors we're looking at, with the pull factors we look at the less developed countries. Why are they so attractive to these investors? They have no laws that concern with basic human rights. So the workers can be bullied. Okay? The workers can easily experience verbal abuse, verbal assault, physical violence, and things like that by their own employers. They are not being protected. It's easy to run a business. You don't like someone, you punish the person physically, and then you fire the person. It's okay to do so because there's no law. You're not violating the law for doing that. Okay. You can fire the people without having to pay compensation to them. There's no law to protect the workers that they gotta get compensation. You don't have to pay for that insurance. That's not by law. You don't have to do that. There's no law for it. You don't have to provide them with entertainment center, sports center, relaxation center, pantry. You don't have to do that. It's not part of the requirement. You don't have to set up air filter water retreatment because there's no law that require the factory owner to have it. There's no specific law that says factory should not produce this amount of toxic air or this amount of toxic in the water. There's no law that states that. So operation is cheap. No laws to protect physical environment and human rights. Corruption is another attractive thing. Any country that has high corruption is actually good for the foreign investors because they can get things on their own way. They can pay their things, like they can pay their way out. Pay their way out. Let's take an example of income tax. By laws in many countries, anyone who earns income will have to pay taxes to the government. But for some foreign companies, they feel like the income taxes for them are so high. They may not want to pay the full amount. If the corruption is there, okay, they may find a way out to reduce their income taxes. Like for example, if you have to pay 10 million baht for the tax, and if you know that Pravit, Prime Minister, said the real Prime Minister, not Pravit, but Pravit. Anyway, you may go to Pravit, the Vice President, the Vice Prime Minister, and you may say that, hey, my company, I have to pay 10 million baht. I don't want to pay that big amount. Can we do something about it? Can I only pay 5, but I give you 1 million? If you can sign a paper and work with me, allow me to pay 45, I'll give you 1 million baht under the table. If you do that, okay, I will be very happy. So if we say yes, it means that the company pay only 6 million baht, 5 million baht to the country and 1 million baht to Pravit. So the company saved 4 million baht. So corruption is good for the business. The company can pay their way out. If they want to gain certain benefit or gain some favor from the government, they can easily do so. If they want the government to pass certain laws to allow them to make more profit, the government are more likely to do so. They take the money and then let the company have their own laws. So think of anything that makes it easy to run a business. It could be things like available of labor supplies, cheap cost of labor supplies, cheap cost of utilities. Make list. I asked for 7 to 10 examples for each. This is going to be in your in your assignment number 3. Now the next part, last part, and I'm going to let you go. The last part is important piece of information. Right now, numbers of investors are moving from developed countries to less developed countries. This causes the less developed countries to have high numbers of industrial productivity or manufacturing products. They have more numbers of manufacturing products than their agricultural products. Remember that most of the less developed countries are agricultural countries. They are being called as agricultural countries because they have more agricultural products than industrial products. But with this new locational trend, right now, less developed countries in Africa, Latin America, and in some countries in Asia, they are producing more of manufacturing products than the agricultural products. But they are not classified as industrial countries, even though they have more manufacturing products than the agricultural products. The reason why they cannot be called as industrial countries because the productions do not belong to their citizens. And the productions, technology, do not belong to that citizen of the country. Very important here. We can only say if a country is an industrialized country or not by looking at who exactly owns those manufacturing products. Is it a citizen of the country or a foreigner? If it is the citizen of the country that owns this big amount of manufacturing products, that means this country is an industrialized country. And we also look at technologies that used to produce manufacturing products. If the technologies belong, created or invented by a citizen of the country, this country is definitely an industrialized country. But as long as most of the productivity and the technologies are owned by the foreign, the country will still be an agricultural country. It can never be an industrialized country. Okay? If we want our country to be an industrialized country, make sure that our people come up with some technology that produce manufacturing products, and make sure that those manufacturing products are owned by the citizens of our country. As of now, many developed countries, they have less manufacturing products that produce in their own country, but more agricultural products that produce in their own country. Like I said, we cannot say that the developed countries are agricultural countries. We cannot say that. Just that their production base are where else. The products, the manufacturing products still belong to them, even though it's not produced within their own country. But even though the products are produced somewhere else, we can still consider that this is the products that belong to the developed countries. พอละ Okay, we have plenty of time left. Like I said, I'm going to give about 1 hour lecture, and the rest of the time will be Q&A. If you are okay with today's lecture or the past lecture, you are free to leave. If you have any question, please come to me. This is the best time that you can talk to me in person about any of your confusions, any of your questions. You can look through all your notes. Just give a few minutes, look through your notes. If you don't have any question, จริง you can leave. If you do, come to me. That's all for today. Nothing else new. Wednesday, like I said, no question, no need to come. You can stay online if you like. No attendance. Okay ค่ะ มีแล้วเธอมาสาย ไปซื้อตั๋วคอนเสิร์ตอยู่หรือเปล่า